Chandler, thanks for sitting down with me today. Alan, what's the biggest challenge you face right now at UC Davis?
And we're fortunate with quite a large department. We're about, I think, 65 faculty in plant sciences. And so quite a breadth of people. We have a lot of students. And, in plant breeding, one of the challenges is is really feeding the pipeline. At Davis, I mean, I guess we're known enough both, nationally and internationally. We actually don't have that hard a time finding good graduate students in plant breeding. In fact, we're going through applications now. It's more the funding for the graduate students, but the biggest problem is really the undergrad. So we have to go back in the pipeline. So to get undergrads interested in plant sciences and then plant breeding. So and to even know what plant breeding is. And when you think about it, it really has to start at the high school level, even with advisors that they even know that this is a career, never mind what it is. And so that's been our biggest challenge. And the other thing we're trying to work very, I would say, actively right now. It's a big priority for our university and certainly many others, is to make sure we have a diverse group of students applying.
Chandler, what is your role at UC Davis? Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there and how you first got involved?
Yeah, so I'm a postdoctoral researcher under Alan Van Deynze, and I actually get to work on the coolest project. I couldn't have imagined a cooler project. There's a maize land, some wild maize from Mexico that recruits bacteria to fertilize itself. And so I get to work with a team of researchers to move that trait into all corn and try to decrease fertilizer use and increase yield for farmers that don't have fertilizer. So that's really exciting. And how I got there is actually a direct result of the Borlaug Scholarship, I think. It funded my attendance of the National Association of Plant Breeders annual conference. And I was about to graduate, so I looked at the attendance list of professors that I might want to work with before attending. And Alan was one of those. And actually, I think he was the top of the list. So I reached out to him first and asked if he had any openings. And he said, as a matter of fact, I do. So I did everything I could to graduate in time after I heard about just how amazing this project was. And I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I think that being a Borlaug Scholar probably helped me get the postdoc, but that's really a question for Alan.
It did.
Well, Chandler, I assume, the Borlaug Scholarship, I assume you would have had to apply for something like that. How did you first hear about it, and what made you actually want to take that step of applying for it?
Yeah, so there was a master's student that was further along than me when I first started my PhD. And I really admired her, and she won a lot of awards. And she told me about the Borlaug Scholarship when it first started. And every year after, I applied until I got it because, first I admired her, but also I think it's the most prestigious award for plant breeding specifically. So I was excited to possibly be honored. And also the award, has Dr. Norman Borlaug's name in it. So being associated with his name just gives you the feeling that you're on a trajectory to help alleviate food insecurity. And that's, I think, what all plant breeders want to do, hopefully. So just really wanted to be associated with him in the award. And also, you get a mentor. And so I was really excited to network more with the community, especially when I was about to apply for jobs.
Now, the Borlaug Scholarship, Alan, can you give us a little bit of history on this scholarship, talk a little bit about what it is and why it's so important?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're a young program, and it was founded by Dr. Don Cummings, who was a retired corn breeder now for Monsanto at the time. And his job at Monsanto was actually recruitment and education. So it's sort of a natural for him. And it's mirrored after the Crop Science Society Golden Opportunity Scholars as well. is the idea. But we came up with this idea, and I was one of the founding members. He asked me to help him out because we've worked together in the past, and also Don Jones, who's with Cotton Incorporated right now. So the three of us came together. We raised some money, but the idea is quite simple. We want to elevate, a little bit going back to your first question. We want to first of all bring undergraduates in and elevate and make sure the experience is there through mentorship, through programs that we need, by going to the National Association of Plant Breeders conference, which is quite a large conference itself, with a lot of students and so on. So basically, getting people in the plant breeding community, knowing their employers, the employers get to know them as well, and the system, like I say, is fairly simple. It's connecting people, but making sure they hit the ground running.
Now, Chandler, as a Borlaug scholar, as Alan says, you got to go to the National Association of Plant Breeders, NAPB annual meeting, and network, make connections. And what was that experience like for you? And how did being a Borlaug scholar influence or change your career trajectory?
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I think out of all the conferences, it has the heaviest, or it has the most amount of graduate students. So there's a lot of activities just for grad students to network with each other and with people at the conference. But specifically, the Borlaug Scholar Committee, they did an amazing job of highlighting us. So our photos were always getting advertised to everyone at the conference, and it felt like we got just so much exposure. And different people would come up and I think they were more willing to like ask about our research since it was highlighted quickly. And so I think that helped me to network more. So yeah, I was able to network a lot at the conference, and that's actually the conference that I talked to Alan at. And I've got this postdoc that I'm working now as a direct result of that. And also he's still coaching me on applying for professorships. So really the Borlaug Scholar program is still helping me years later.
Now, Alan, every scholarship, of course, has sponsors, people, organizations that put money towards it to help fund it. How many sponsors does the Borlaug Scholarship Program have currently, and why do you find or organizations want to be a part of helping fund this scholarship?
Well, I mean, thanks for asking that. I mean, one of the important part of the program is a sponsorship. Really to get the students to the meetings, and also advertising and things like this that we do. But the main thing is to get the students to the meetings and give them the opportunities that Chandler was describing. So the more people that sponsor, the more sponsors we have, the more students we can bring in. We've brought, we started I think with 14 students. The first year, we're up to 48 now total since 2018. We've been able to bring a few extra students in the last couple of years because the meetings are online. And so, we did, we are sponsoring some events as well for that, but we're going to be back in person next year. So what the sponsorship does is pay for the travel, accommodations and so on, and a few other events at the meeting. The registrations in there as well. So it's important, I think, for the program. It's important. The reason I, didn't hesitate when Don Cummings asked me to start this program with him, it was that I knew it would have impact, and that's what it's about.
Exactly, that's true. And Chandler, as someone who's really benefited from the Borlaug Scholarship Program, why would you encourage organizations to maybe think about getting involved?
Oh, well, I mean, it definitely impacts the students. I can attest to that, but I think it impacts them as well because they're getting access to like the cream of the crop. These are the best plant breeding students, and they'll be able to easily identify them and recruit them. I know there's some companies that like to have programs specifically for the Borlaug scholars before and after the conference. So it's great both ways for them recruiting and then for us to get exposure. So definitely would appreciate sponsorships.
And Alan, finally, how can organizations get more information about potentially contributing to the scholarship?
Well, it's pretty easy. If we just go to our website, the main National Association of Plant Breeders website and it's plantbreeding.org. So it's fairly easy to remember, and it's right there on the front page. There's a link to Borlaug Scholars right there. We're opening up right now our applications. Just opened last week for both undergrad and graduates, and that's going to be open till April 1st. So we're looking for both sponsorships and and applicants for students.
That must be really neat, yeah, to see to actually see, all the people who are applying and people from different walks of life. And that must be really exciting for you as somebody who's gone through that whole process and been a Borlaug Scholar to actually get those applications from, up and coming young plant breeders. That must be really exciting.
It really is, and there's so many people who deserve it. So it's nice to like read through so many amazing
Yeah,
applications.
it's hard. I mean, like we had looked through the applicants, and it was like we're just picking hairs, on trying to separate people, who we're going to sponsor.
Yeah, I also got to mentor an undergrad Borlaug scholar this year, and she just like blew me away. Just like how much she's already achieved and what she will achieve when I was an undergrad. I mean, I was definitely trying hard, but the people that win these scholarships, they're just so incredible. So I'm thankful that they're thinking about careers in plant breeding.